Little Beth Media. Welcome to The Rocketry Show, a show for the community of hobby, educational, and amateur rocketry enthusiasts. You're listening to Season 5, Episode 75, and on this show, we're going to be having a workshop discussion. So we're going to talk about all the things we've been working on. So stick around, don't go anywhere. The Rocketry Show will start right after the first list of patrons who have made this program possible. Jason Cook, Bill Cook, Les Rayburn, Tom Rum, Adam Lewis, Eric Gonzalez, Guy Wadsworth, and John Beans. Did you know patrons of The Rocketry Show now make up the majority of the funding for our program? Become one today. Visit patreon.com/The Rocketry Show.
Introducing Mach 1 Rocketry, the creators of a new line of fiberglass kits with amazing designs and solid construction that'll last a lifetime. Mach 1 Rocketry, the fiberglass specialists. We don't make anything else. Now you can fly low power with less worries about crashes and wet weather. Check out our BT-sized kits with filament-wound airframes and 1/16-inch G10 fins and G10 centering rings. These rockets are tough enough to take the punishment of many flights. And when you're ready to step up to high-power rockets, Mach 1 Rocketry has a complete line of exciting new fiberglass kits. Check out old favorites and great new designs as well, like the Black Hole, an instant classic, easy to build, tough, and inexpensive. The triple crown of rockets from Mach 1 Rocketry, the only manufacturer of fiberglass BT-sized rockets in the world. Visit us online at Mach1Rocketry.com. That's Mach, the number 1, Rocketry.com. Kits by flyers, for flyers. Step up today.
Ignition sequence start. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. All engine running.
You're listening to The Rocketry Show.
All right, lift off and the clock has started. Yes, sir. Reading you loud and clear.
If it makes fire, smoke, lots of noise, and flies into the heavens, then these guys are all about it. Here are CG, Gheem, and the Rocket Noob.
We are back. It is The Rocketry Show at TheRocketryShow.com. CG, Gheem, and Daniel, the Rocket Noob. We are here to do a workshop episode before we get into several episodes of NARCON 2019, which will be, it's just about 2 weeks or so away from posting our first, well, basically the part 1 to it. But in the meantime, we've all been working on a lot of workshop stuff. So I figured we might as well get some workshop talk out of the way. We also have some cool workshop talk stuff from our listeners as well. So we'll have to touch on that as well. So how are you guys doing?
Fantastic. Awesome. Really good.
How you doing?
Hanging in there. And excited that I'm getting my workshop is being basically redone now that I've got all the server stuff out of that area and into the new spot. So I've been pulling things out of the workshop and opening up the floor, getting some storage stuff up there for all of my rocket airframe tubes, so I can organize that stuff. And I'm just about ready to start building into more rockets.
Nice.
How do you organize a bunch of tubes? That's the one quandary.
Well, there was a pretty neat thing that the previous owner of my house did in there, that he did this for a totally different purpose, like where to keep extra screen windows and glass panels and all that.
Mm-hmm.
And what he did is up in the ceiling, off of the rafters in that workshop room, he put, so basically he took some, wood framing. It's like maybe 2x2s or something like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And made like these little U-shape, pieces that stick into the rafter, and he can slide, windows and things in there. And I've been using one of those to store some, airframe type stuff. And I'm going,
nice.
If I make a few more of these, I can just keep the airframe tubes up there, and then that I'll hang it all over the place.
I like it.
So I'm going to do more of those and just have them, up in those little brackets up in the off the rafters in the
because I have a bunch of like BT60 tubes that I've collected over my time, and I've got them. I have an old storage locker that, like, from a high school, and it's just in my workshop that I don't know where else to put them. So I have all of my tubes in the locker, for now, because it's where else am I going to put them? So,
Yeah, I've got a lot of mine in just a big tub. That I've got the smaller tubes nested inside the bigger tubes. And but it's not ideal, but it's what I got.
Right.
One
of those big plastic tubs, the lid on it.
Yep, the old Walmart specials, man. I love them.
Yeah. I've my rocket room. I live in an older house in New England, so the ceilings are very high. And I sometimes I look at it, I think, if there were only some way I could utilize all that overhead space that he's just going to, it's just using up all the heat. It'd be nice, but I don't think I want to start messing around with hanging things from the ceiling in this place. I don't even know where, like, the walls. I don't think the walls would support, or the ceilings would support anything.
I have a dream. It's not that grandiose. Actually, a simple dream. I would like to hang my rockets from the ceiling, on pulleys that I could pull them down and just kind of pull them off if I wanted to fly them. But things have been getting bigger and bigger, and I just don't have any room for it. But I was thinking what I need to do is not use the garage for anything but rockets. And it's a 2-car garage. I think I might be able to do that. It's just convincing my wife that that's a viable option. That's the challenge. And I don't think that's going to happen. So, I can always try.
The only reason I have a rocket room is because I used to build rockets on the kitchen table. And my wife decided that she would rather have no rockets on the kitchen table than have her own office. So
fair enough.
Or you can do, Jim. You can always make a new garage with a workshop upstairs.
Oh, you're thinking big there.
Goals.
What I need to do is get like one of those big sheds for farm equipment and just take up the whole backyard. I have a 1/3 of an acre lot. It's typical standard suburban, but I've just put one big shed back there, and then I could do anything I wanted to with it. I'd have rockets hanging from the ceilings on pulley systems. I'd have a whole workshop area. I'd have a motor building area, which would be kind of cool because I'm starting to get into fabbing motors and stuff maybe.
Right.
Oh,
you're really dreaming big now.
Well, all you got to do is open that spigot of thought, and that's it.
Yeah. Off it goes.
It's all good though.
I saw on Facebook this new piece of technology that you can use, and it's some kind of fantastical thing. So it was I think it was meant to be like a root cellar or something, but it's a large plastic structure that you basically bury under the ground, and it's like a little, I guess it's like sort of like a plastic bomb shelter in a way, but you just dig a big hole, you stick this thing down there, and you cover it up, and it's good for, I don't remember what it was supposed to be for. Maybe it was a root cellar, maybe it was a, or whatever. But I kept thinking to myself, that'd be a great place to store motors. Just bury them all.
Yes. Interesting.
What do you guys been building lately?
Yeah, I finally put the finishing touches on my North Coast Rocketry SA-14 Archer.
Yes.
Which I've been building for about 2 years. Well, not steadily, but I've had a few missed. I basically screwed up a number of things on the build, and it's basically been done for a few months. It just needed some details, some decals, basically, and a couple of the decals that they have these red details that are supposed to go over the leading edges of the fins. Yep. I put them on, and they wouldn't stick. And the reason that I mentioned this to Matt Steele at NARCON, he was going to send me some new ones, and I said, no. The problem is not the decals. Right. The problem is the way I shaped the fins. I left corners on the fins rather than rounding them over, so they just didn't want to stick. It wasn't nothing wrong with the decals, so I decided to do that with paint. This is an easy mask. Did that with paint. I got a little bit of bleed through, but it's fine. It looks great from 8 feet away. Or from the safe distance of 30 feet away. And then it just needed some additional decals, and then I lost them. Didn't know what happened. No. Unfortunately, it's just these little black and white detail decals, some little roll pattern type symbols. I assume that's what they're supposed to be. Fortunately, just in case, I had scanned everything, so I made myself some water slides. I put these things where I wanted them. I'm sorry?
Didn't you do a blog post
I should do a blog post about that? Well, I'm still really new to the decal, water slide decal.
Well, tell us what you learned so far. That sounds like a good workshop thing for people.
I learned so far, don't overdo the acrylic clear coat when you're making your water slides.
Okay.
Let it dry before you do that second coat. So I basically use inkjet water slide decal paper. And, it comes in, I think, at least two varieties. There's the inkjet and the laser jet, and it depends on which kind of printer you have. I have an inkjet printer. And of course, that ink is water soluble. So you print it on, it's glossy paper. It looks like photo paper. You print it on there, and then you take an acrylic clear coat spray paint, and you coat it at least a couple of times until you got nice coverage over the whole thing, so that when you dip your decal in the water, the ink doesn't run off.
Okay.
Now, I've had a number of challenges with this. I'm still kind of new to this. First of all, I went online and asked a couple questions about, what's the best format to save a scan in? Is it just PDF or something? Because he wanted to print the same size. I got a bunch of really great information back, but a lot of it went way over my head because there was stuff about, color correction and converting to this format and that format. And so I just kept it simple, and I scanned it, saved it as a PDF, and it looks fine. It's not the best decals you've ever seen. Definitely, if I print certain ones, there are some flaws in the colors just because of my scanner. And somebody be able to correct that. It's not me. I don't have the software or the know-how to do all that stuff. But I did manage to get the ones that I needed to replace. They were just black and white, so they printed off just fine. And got them put on there nice. And I've decided the rocket is done, and I'm going to fly it at my next launch, which is coming up in 2 weeks, and I cannot stress how excited I am about this.
How difficult, like in a scale of between regular water slide decals, which you have experience with, and the inkjet decals, which I don't have experience with, is it more difficult, more time consuming? I mean, what do you have to do with that?
Well, you have to, you have to make them, so that's going to be a little extra. But I found that at least with the paper that I have, they slide off in a lot less time. So if I get like an Estes water slide, I have to leave it in the water for, a good 30 seconds.
Easily,
Sometimes a little longer before it starts to move. With these, this paper, I can just basically dip it in the water and pull it out and let it sit for really just about 5-10 seconds, and it's already starting to slide off.
Okay, that's a big difference.
I do find that I have had issues with, you put it in the water and the decal curls as it gets wet. And then what happens is that as it uncurls, the ink actually cracks. And so I've had a few, where it looks like it is broken. And it's just because the whole thing is curled up, and then you uncurl it, and then the ink just splits basically. So I've done things like, when I dip it in the water, I hold it with all of my fingers just so that it can't curl. Or I'll take a paintbrush and I'll just lightly brush the back of the decal first with a little bit of water to kind of like, so that it's not shocked by dipping in the water. And but I mean, it's not difficult. They're a little bit thicker, I think, than standard water slides because you do coat them with spray paint. I guess it depends on how heavy your coats are.
Right.
But I mean, water slide decals are something that I like them better than self-stick decals or stickers, and I don't have that much difficulty with them. But I'm also like, some people make them look real nice. Like,
right. Well, they got the
kit decals or homemade decals. We got a guy named Tony Vincent at our club, and first of all, his paint jobs are amazing. His repairs look better than most people's first builds. And he also, if you look at anything that has a decal on it, it's, first of all, they're perfectly placed. Perfect. They're not at all crooked. Like I'll put some decals on and think they look pretty good. And then I look at it again from a different angle. I'm like, oh, that's a little bit crooked. But his decals are perfect, and they look like they're just part of the paint job. And he might be using a decal setting solution like Microsol and Microset, which I just bought some.
Okay.
Haven't used it yet. I don't really know that I can use it on the homemade decals without ruining them. But
right.
You know,
testing is in order.
So, yeah, but I'm not going to do it on the Archer. Once done, I don't want to mess it up.
I'm very happy for you. I can't wait to see some photos of that. Your build with all of the things that you said you went through is probably like 10 times better than my good build. You know what I consider a good build. So I can't wait to see the photos of it and everything.
I mean, that's the thing is, I like to make rockets look pretty, and there are a lot of people who like to do that. And when you're building, if you screw something up, it's so frustrating and so maddening. But then once the rocket's done, it looks great. It looks fine.
I like the screw ups that nobody would even notice except you.
Yeah, and there are definitely some. I think when I first got started, I was reading blogs and reading the model rocket building blog by Chris Michelson, who's a real craftsman. And, and I kind of thought that's what everybody does. And so, if I was building a rocket, it just didn't quite turn out as perfect as I was hoping. I would get really frustrated. And then I thought, well, I'm going to go to my first club launch, and I'm like, I don't want to be embarrassed. And
so
I show up and I'm like, there are a lot of people who are not that fussy about it. They'll build it, and it looks fine. Their rockets look fine. Some of them look a little rougher than others. Some of them look, pretty good, but they're not afraid to fly them because they haven't spent.
Sure.
They're not everyone's a perfectionist, and they don't have to worry about it. And I was like sitting here going, I can't bring this rocket to the launch because I'll be embarrassed. And now I'm like, oh no, I guess my rockets look pretty good, and I'm glad that I have developed a skill where I can make it look nice. But it would have been nice to know ahead of time that I don't necessarily have to. Before I developed this neurosis where now I have to make them look perfect, or else
When I got back into it, it was funny because as a kid, I used to spend all this time and effort, and then inevitably the first launch, it would be a bad launch. Something would happen, a Kato, wind would take it, it would get in a tree. All the usually land on the roof of the neighbor's house that I couldn't go up on the roof to get, so I could watch it slowly dissolve in the rain. But when I got back into it, I sort of said, I'm going to build, and I'm going to do it well, and I'm not going to get too stressed out about it. I want to do it right, but I'm not going to freak out about all the details either, because I'm going to lose them anyway, like I did as a kid. Well, turned out that as I got a little bit better and learned that there was things like launch clubs and launch fields and National Association of Rocketry events that I could go to and all this other cool stuff. Then I was like, oh, okay, well, I guess I'm pretty good. It's kind of funny how your perspective changes.
Yeah, and I guess I just thought everybody's rockets looked perfect and mine didn't. And then I get there and I'm like, oh, well, I guess, all of the effort I've applied has made it so that I make pretty decent looking rockets. They're not perfect, and I definitely have seen better looking ones than mine, but I would say mine are pretty good looking.
There you go.
And it just takes me longer to do it. But the other thing is, when you make a mistake, if you are the kind of person where you're trying to make it look nice and you screw it up, it's very frustrating and maddening in the moment. But then when it's done, it actually looks fine. The whole thing looks just fine. You might notice a few flaws. I've got a couple rockets. I built these scratch built Big Berthas, and they've definitely got some flaws on them. But I know that when I take them to the field, people are going to think they look pretty good. And I'm going to know where the flaws are. And if I start pointing out, well, I did this wrong and they did that wrong, and I got some, the masking kind of tore the paint right here and blah, blah, blah. Then if I want to be a Debbie Downer about it, then of course, but they look pretty good. They look pretty good.
There you go.
And,
there you go.
So even though I had lots of problems with this Archer, and there are some weird dings in the balsa strakes, no one's going to notice. Because it looks freaking awesome. This is an awesome rocket.
Oh, yeah. It's a beautiful looking rocket. I don't, unless you just throw it together and, with Elmer's school glue and do a crappy job on the decals, it looks like a cool rocket. There's no doubt about it.
Sweet, yeah.
But I'm biased. As a matter of fact, I started working on my Mach 1 Rocketry RIM 66, the BT60 version of it. And it very much looks like an Archer, and it is an amazing build. I'm having a ball with this because it's small for me. And I'm sitting here working in fiberglass, using my fiberglass techniques about roughing up edges and things, and I'm building it like it's a high power type build, even though it's a BT60 tube and it's so lightweight. It's amazing because I'm sticking my finger in the tube right now and I can see my finger inside the tube. Like I've got the Kevlar shock cord on the nose cone and everything, and it isn't painted yet. I'm still working on the fins and everything, but I can see the Kevlar right through this tube, but it is strong. So no seams, nothing to worry about filling spirals or anything. I did slightly modify it by putting an Estes 24 millimeter motor retainer on the bottom end of it, which it actually looks pretty cool because I have it recessed in about halfway so that it starts to look really cool. I can't wait to finish the fins and get it painted up. But Mach 1 has done a hell of a job bringing fiberglass down to a size like this. It's a fun build. It's not challenging at all. It's just simple, straightforward stuff. And I built it. I put the engine mount together with rocket epoxy because I had some leftover rocket epoxy from a bigger build that I'm working on. And I'm like, I'll just build it with rocket epoxy. It's a little bit heavier, but you know what? That's what the big 24 millimeter motors are for. So I'm having a lot of fun with it. It's just a neat little rocket. Mach 1's done a hell of a job. I can't wait to build some more of their stuff.
I can't wait to get to my kit too. It's waiting for when the workshop is up and going, and I have parts of it dry fitted right now. So once I have the things going, the rocket factory will be revving up into full steam here.
Well, for me, this is like my little sanity build. It's like we're going through a kitchen remodel right now, and they're starting demolition tomorrow. So this is the rocket that stays on my bench. It's easy enough that I can just leave it there because it's small. And every once in a while, I'll do a little work. I'll walk away from it. I'll do a little work, walk away from it. So that's my sanity build, I call it. So I'm not in any hurry to get her done. I'm having fun with it. And the one that has the stress is the big Apogee Components Saturn V that I got for Christmas. I just started working on that, but that's another story.
Yeah, well, maybe we'll get to that in a second. We're going to take a quick break here on the Rocketry Show because we do have to play these messages here. We'll be right back right after this. Workshop talk is the topic of the show, and we'll be right back. You're listening to the Rocketry Show.
Liftoff. We have a liftoff. 32 minutes past the hour. Liftoff on Apollo 11.
Hey guys, Gheem here. As we all know, this is the 50th anniversary of the Apollo moon landing, and Lock Precision, a name that's been synonymous with mid and high power rocketry for over 30 years, is going to help you celebrate with the release of their brand new custom Saturn V.
We copy you down, Eagle.
Check it out. This is a 7.5-inch diameter rocket that is 80.5 inches tall, has fiberglass fairings and transitions, milled wooden capsule, laser interlocking tower, an optional electronics bay and recovery, full sticker shock and lock vinyl decal set, and comes with 1010 and 1515 rail guides included. It is fully customizable on their website at lockprecision.com. You can choose from a selection of motor mounts, and the price will range depending upon your configuration from $535 to $665. Go to lockprecision.com today and get it now. Lockprecision.com. Fly higher, fly lock.
This episode of The Rocketry Show is also brought to you by the following patrons: Andrew Bracken, Brian Reniker, Charlie Savoy, Christopher Short, Dale Winter, Doug Wade, Eric Hamilton, Gary Rosenfield, Jason O'Scally, Jesse Yu, John Kusher, Jordan Callendon, Mark McBride, Michael Pitfield, and Paul Olivieri. While the Rocketry Show is supported by commercial sponsors, they do not cover all of the costs of doing the show. This is why we appreciate the support of patrons like you. Thank you. To find out more, just go to patreon.com/theRocketryShow. It's time for Serious Rocketry. Serious Rocketry since 1998, providing the Rocketeer with great kits, motors, supplies, and more. They have lots of products in their ever-growing web store with fast shipping, wide selection, and courteous service. You can check out their amazing and popular Serious Rocketry kits that harken back to the days of fun-to-build detailed kits that are more than just 3 fins and a nose cone. Gene, what do you have?
Well, actually, the rocket that I like to talk about is 3 fins and a nose cone, but it's a classic. We're looking at the little nuke from lock precision. And it's a 2.6 inch diameter body tube with a 29 millimeter motor mount. I mean, this is your classic awesome, like, about 30 inches high. So you could go with either a D all the way up to a G or higher if you wanted to. What I thought struck me about this kit, though, is that, how you have like altitudes from various motors and their ranges and stuff. This one goes, I just think it's funny. It goes from an altitude of 325 feet on a D, I assume, all the way up to 4,200 feet on what I'm assuming is a G. So it can take a lot. It comes with plywood fins, through the wall construction. Just a good basic kit. Little Nuke is a classic design. If you're typically at any launch, especially in the Midwest, you're going to see at least one of these show up. Little Nuke, Big Nuke. But the Little Nuke is a neat one because it's kind of a transitional rocket that you could go, if you wanted to go a little bit bigger, you could still fly it on a small field with a D if you'd like. But if you wanted to like pump it up a little bit, you could certainly put a larger motor in it and take it off. And the beautiful thing about it is it's not going to break the bank. It comes with everything you need. It's got the nylon shock cord. It's got your your nylon parachute, everything that you could possibly want, and it goes for $50.98. So it's a great transitional rocket, simple to build, a lot of fun to fly. I kind of am getting back into the 2.6 inch diameters just because they're very versatile and you can do a lot with them. And this one is the one. It's the Little Nuke from Sirius Rocketry.
Alrighty, Sirius Rocketry's website features real-time stock tracking, which lets you order with confidence from their online store. No having to call or write to see if something is really in stock. And when you're ready to fly, Sirius Rocketry has motors and hardware in stock and ready to ship from Estes through Aerotech High Power. You can ask them about their club specials, and you can visit their website at siriusrocketry.biz and .com. Sirius Rocketry, for the serious Rocketeer. Welcome back to The Rocketry Show at TheRocketryShow.com with the workshop discussion episode. And we were just finishing up a discussion on Gheem's Mach 1 rocketry kit. I have a Daedalus, Mach 1 Daedalus, which is waiting to be, like I said before the break, it's all dry fitted. And it's right now inside of one of those overhead storage things I was talking about, the one that the store owner put together. So as soon as I get everything else all cleared off from the workbench, and I'm going to put another workbench in there too. One for all the electric power tools, like the belt sander and the belt, the belt saw, the band saw. Sorry, and I have a drill press, and right now it's sitting on like one of those heavy duty shelves that I made into a mini bench, but I want to put a whole other bench that has that stuff on there. So
cool.
So anyway, yeah, that's me talking for a second. Let's get back into what you were working on, Gheem. You were starting up on a few things.
You gave a little teaser about a Christmas present that my wife had generously offered, which was the Apogee Components 5.5 inch diameter Saturn V kit, which it's a really interesting build. Think of the Estes Saturn V that a lot of guys are building right now, and then just make it a little bit bigger. It is great components. It's not meant to be a high power kit. It's meant to take a G. So the rings where the motor mount goes in are cardstock. They're heavy cardstock that you reinforce. I've been reinforcing it with epoxy and kind of putting a small layer of finishing epoxy on the rings just because cardstock, it's interesting, but it's very lightweight. So far, the motor mount's built, and I just started. Well, it hit the wall. A lot of people, I'm sure, hit the wall when they get to the wraps on any Saturn build. So I got the lower wrap done. I haven't put it on the rocket yet because I still want to test on how to use that really thin CA and the Teflon tube to kind of wick it in there. And I'm going to do some testing before I actually commit to it. But I got the wrap nice and trimmed well, and it's ready to go on. It's just a matter of getting over that fear block of like, oh my God, I'm doing a wrap. I haven't done a wrap since I was a kid. What is going to happen here? Is it going to melt? Am I going to get it right? What happens if it gets stuck and I can't get it off? All that fear and loathing that comes with if you haven't done a wrap in a while. So I'm getting excited to give it a shot. I'm going to lay down the line on it and, give myself the right orientation. And what's cool about this kit is you have a PDF of the instructions, but most of the instructions are actually instructional videos. And it's pretty cool because I've got my Mac set up on my workbench. I got a little Mac Mini there, and I'm watching the video before I do a step. And I think that Apogee did a really good job in putting it together and kind of going over what stuff looks like. So I'm finding that I'm having a lot more confidence in watching the videos as opposed to just reading the instructions. And then I'll see what they do, run the video a couple times before I do a step, and then go back and do the step and then see how well I matched up to what the video said. So it's actually pretty cool. It's taken me a little while to go through, but I'm taking my time with this build. I have until July 20th, right? Because I'm gonna debut it at a launch, of course, just like everybody else is with their Saturns. And I'm just taking my time with it. As soon as I get over the first wrap, I think it'll come a lot easier. But right now, I'm at that block, and it's like, I'll get around to it. But you know how that goes, right?
Yeah. I hear you.
Definitely. Yeah, I'm at that point with my Estes Saturn V where it's wrap time. And I've got I have a bottle of spray adhesive that it's a Loctite spray adhesive, and I tested it out. Works great. Tested it out. First of all, one of the things that I would suggest you do if you are building this rocket is to, you have these wraps. They come on a vacuum form sheet, and they're what are they? Styrene? I think they're styrene.
Yeah.
So you trim them out. So don't throw away the trimmings, because you can use the trimmings to test adhesives with, which you really should do. Because people will recommend all kinds of different adhesives. You don't want to do something that's going to melt it. You want to make sure it's going to stick. So I have this Loctite. It's a Loctite 200 something or other. Tested scrap of this styrene on a scrap of BT80 tube. It stuck. It didn't peel off. It's great. Fantastic. Okay.
Right.
I do need to get a new bottle of it because the nozzle's a little clogged and it comes out. It doesn't really come out as strong as it should. So now I'm at the point where I'm like, okay, I got to put my first wrap on. This adhesive works best. You can make it says permanent bond. You spray both surfaces, let it sit for a minute, and then apply it. Right. Okay. If you just spray one surface, then it's a repositionable bond. And I'm like, well, I would like it to not fall off. So I'm thinking permanent bond, right? So first I'm thinking to myself, okay, how do I get spray adhesive where I want it and not where I don't want it? So I'm thinking, okay, I'm going to have to mask things just for doing the spray adhesive, which I kind of wish I didn't have to do. Kind of a pain. And I have to wait until I can do it outside, right? So there's that. Now, as far as getting the wrap on straight, you draw a line, just like drawing a launch lug line up and down the body tube. You're supposed to align the side of the wrap with that line, and that's supposed to be your guide so that you can get the wrap all the way around. Well, I've found that if I practice it, if I just try and do it without any glue, half the time it doesn't quite match up. So I have to fiddle with it. So my thinking is, okay, I've done this with self-stick stickers before, right? I'm going to put it where I want it, and then I'm going to use a piece of masking tape and create a hinge. Right. This is what you would do with like a sticker shock vinyl decal. You put it where you want it, then you create a hinge, you'd peel everything up, right? So I've got the spray adhesive that I think I want to use. I know that I should mask everything. But if I've got the wrap attached to the rocket with a hinge of tape, that means that I've got to be really careful not to get spray adhesive on the back side of the outside of the wrap. And also, when I spray it onto the rocket, where the tape hinge is, it's not going to get any adhesive on the rocket. So I'm thinking to myself,
not at all,
is that going to be okay? Is it going to peel? I don't want it to peel off. So I'm just, I don't know. I'm gonna have to think about it. I think I'm just
scrap.
I've already done this.
I heard that somewhere.
So I just got to build up the nerve to do it, and also wait for the weather to be just right.
That's it. That's the same thing I'm going through with mine.
I have a few months.
Right. July 20th.
If anybody has any other adhesives that they would like to recommend that doesn't require masking or doesn't fly out of a can.
CA. the thin CA, the stuff that doesn't melt styrene. It's the Bob Smith stuff. I think it's in a gold bottle. That is actually the stuff that I've been testing with, and in this testing some of the scrap that I have, and we're using one of those Teflon nozzles that they have. That's about 4 inches long that fits over the regular. It actually seems to wick in there very nicely. So my strategy is going to be, yes, it does. I'm going to actually lay down the wrap, tape it into place on the body tube, get it exactly where I want, and then make sure it's taped down, and then slowly work my way around the tube with that CA and those little Teflon, kind of just letting it kind of wick in there and get in there. And I think that's going to be the strategy that's going to work for me. So I know I thought about the spray adhesive like you talked about, but there were just too many complications for it for me. I don't have the patience for it. I want to be able to get it on there and make sure it's good, and good enough. And so I'm going to try that.
That's the issue is if I put the spray adhesive on both surfaces, and then I start to apply the wrap and I realize it's not straight, it's stuck. It's not coming off.
It's like, think about if you ever built one of the 4-inch Mega Deer Red Maxes, that 4-inch water slide decal that goes around the body tube. Yeah. I screwed up the first one I did, and that's when I learned about the joys of sticker shock. Thanks, Mark.
Yeah,
Made a big difference.
Definitely.
And
yes?
Oh, I thought you were wrapping up, so I was about to chime in with something cool, but it sounds like you have more.
Chime away.
Okay, one neat thing I saw, and it's in our Rocketry Show discussion group on Facebook, which a lot of Rocketeers and listeners of the show have really taken to the group, and they just kind of keep the discussions going, and there's a lot of cool things. But one of the cool things I saw was John Simmons showing pictures of his cereal box cardboard transitions.
Oh, yeah, man, those are cool.
And never thought about doing it that way, but yeah, he just takes cereal boxes and makes his own transitions, and
he's got perfect.
Yeah, once you paint, you look at the pictures and you see the cereal, the logo from the manufacturers of the cereal, but once he paints over it, you would never know. And anybody care to go through some of what he shared?
Well, he makes, it's just like a paper transition, like you would make from cardstock for a model. You've got a glue tab and you glue the ends together. And he has a way of applying weight to the top of the transition using centering rings, so that it makes it rounder. It just the pressure from above causes it to makes it round, helps to round it out. Mm-hmm. That's one of the challenges when you're doing a paper transition is sometimes it comes out a little lopsided, or it looks, the joint is a little pointy. So then he hardens it with CA, and sands, or basically you can, once you harden it with CA, you can sand there's the overlap, the seam basically where the two ends glue together. You can sand that down so that it pretty much disappears. And they're sturdy. They look solid as anything, and they're really well made. They're just perfect looking transitions. I think he said he cuts the curved parts with scissors. That's the tricky part. Is like, what do you cut it with? Like,
yes,
right.
At NARCON, we talked to Chris Michelson on the show, which we'll hear when we get to that episode. But he did a presentation on making paper transitions. It was very helpful, very useful. Which actually a lot of what he was presenting, I'd seen on his blog, modelrocketbuilding.blogspot.com, and but it was really great to see it in person, and it sort of made you feel like this is doable. And he had some very intricate models. He had a little Dr. Zooch Mercury Redstone, which is tiny and has lots and lots of little paper transitions, very, very small paper transitions, including the nozzles for the escape tower, which are just teensy weensy little things. And the kind of thing where I would think to myself, I don't want to do this. This is too much.
Right.
But he has his technique down, and it just looked beautiful. And So he shared those, and that's another source you could check out is the Model Rocket Building blog. He's got a lot of great tips on there. But yeah, those cereal box transitions are pretty awesome.
Yes.
What's cool about it though is I've built a couple of the old Launchpad kits, which are basically real builders kits. Like I still have a Nike Hercules that I had to build up, and most of it is cardstock. What I noticed though is that the cardstock conical transitions, if it was made from a cereal box, it's actually a little thicker than the cardstock that you get with a kit. So I thought that was kind of interesting. And I was like, I wish I had a little bit of a harder cardboard stock. I mean, I'm still working on finishing. I have to build the fins out of cardstock for this Nike Hercules. And I'm like, I'll get to that later. But I'm wondering if I should actually attempt to do that from cereal box, just get the templates, because I've got the size of the fins and I could just cut them like that and see how it goes. So I was thinking about actually trying to do that at some point.
Yeah, that
seems like it would be a really good, especially because you have the outside is nice and smooth. So I think if you got it, if you got the fin to where you wanted it, it would probably take paint really well.
Right, that's what I'm hoping. The thing that shapes the fin is, because they're really shaped, are the balls. There's balsa on either side in the shape of kind of a parallelogram, I guess. And those are what and then there's some internal cardstock fillers that make the fin, that give the fin rigidity and strength. Right, some spars that go across it. So I think actually I'm going to try to do that. I'll replace the cardstock on the fins with the cardboard from the cereal box. And I think I'll give it a shot because I don't have to curve it. You're right. And I just have to put a line in the center of it so I can kind of split that fin to make it look like, like the Nike Hercules one does.
I mean, it'd be worth a shot. I mean, honestly, if you got some leftover cereal boxes, no harm in at least giving it a shot. And if it doesn't turn out, it's a rough draft.
Right.
Exactly. Yeah. I got an 8-year-old kid. We got cereal box.
I was going to say, for those of us with kids, we've got more than enough cereal boxes to start stacking up.
Little Noob is obsessed with Cheerios. The toddlers and Cheerios are like,
it's a thing.
Yeah. So I'm not the only one who eats.
To go into the toilet. little. So this is a daddy tip. You got a boy. You throw a Cheerio in the toilet and tell him to aim for it.
See, this is what Mrs. Noob was telling me this. And I said, what? I've never heard of this. So Mrs. Noob
fully biodegradable. Oh, okay. So there you go. Very wise woman.
Yes, very much indeed.
Yeah.
And that caught my attention because one of the kits that I've dry fitted together as well, and I can't wait to get the workshop done so I can get it going, is my Ventures kit. And I've always wanted that Ventures because I like that style of transition.
Yeah.
And I've got an older design that I think would look really cool with a similar, small into large transition type thing. And I was trying to figure out where can I get some, what kind of transitions do I want to buy? Will it have the right angle that I'm looking for? Right. I want to be able to experiment. And I saw that cereal box one. It's like, ooh, yeah. Because I saw the cardstock ones, but I'm in the mid-power rocketry, and I like some things to be heavy duty, and I like using heavier walled body tubes. And when I saw that, it's like, ooh, yeah,
it might work.
It's nice and heavy. I like it.
Yeah,
so we're gonna post. I'm saving these pictures now. I'm gonna put them in the show notes for those of you who do not use Facebook. I think about half of our audience is on Facebook, and the other half will never go on there if their life depended on it. So we'll
if you can avoid it, it's probably for the best. I'm addicted to it, so they have me forever now. But
so we will share these pictures that he shared with us and some of his instructions as well to go along with it, and as well as we'll have to get some links to Chris Michelson's blog on making transitions, so you can have fun researching this yourself and coming up with your own techniques. I'll be interested to see what all of you come up with out there.
Cool.
All right. Yeah, I was just saving one of the pictures there.
Yeah, I actually went on to EstusRockets.com, and they don't carry a lot of those builder kits anymore, those Pro Series 2 builder kits, but they have a lot of parts left over.
A lot of parts.
So so bought some tubes, nose cones, transitions. They basically have everything but fins and centering rings. So you can get you can get yourself some nice parts, and they are nice parts. I don't know if you've ever built one of those Pro Series builder kits, they're solid. And so I decided, well, I sort of whipped up a quickie, a 2-stage design. It's not finished, just so that I could see what parts I wanted to order. Because I thought, I always like those sounding rockets that have a big fat booster on the bottom and a skinny rocket on top.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And so I bought a few extra parts before they were gonzo, and of course got those Red Max, Mega Red Max nose cones that you can get right now. Got a few of those, and
nice.
So yeah, a few transitions. Ready for business. Yeah. whatever design I happen to cook up.
I got, you know what? A laser printer can be your friend. I happen to have access to one at school. So it's very helpful.
You mean a laser cutter?
Yep. Yeah. Yes. What did I say?
You said
printer.
Laser printer.
Yeah. Oh, laser printer. Oh, sorry. Yeah.
Which is also very good to have.
Yes.
Yeah. Right. It does like a sheet that's 24 inches by 12 inches. So you can get some like balsa or plywood stock or aircraft grade plywood. It'll go up to 1/4 of an inch thickness. Nice. So that should be more than enough for any kind of a transmission. So anytime you have any files, during TARC this year, we our centering rings were foam core, for just the weight on it, and we cut those on the laser printer, which has actually saved a lot of money for the team. So I was pretty excited about that.
Speaking of TARC,
well, hang on. I was going to say it's time for a break, but we have to come back and talk about TARC after this. So perfect build up here. So we'll take a break here at the Rocketry Show, and we'll come right back with TARC 2019 news. North Coast Rocketry, one of the first high-power rocketry kit companies ever, takes advantage of over 30 years of high-power experience by a world-class rocketeer. You can look to North Coast Rocketry to expand your high-power rocket fleet. In addition to great kits, North Coast Rocketry also stocks lots of must-have items and accessories for every Rocketeer's workshop. Find out more about these kits and other great products today. Go to NorthCoastRocketry.com. And while you're there, don't forget to get their latest catalog, NorthCoastRocketry.com. Advanced rockets that are easy to build, fun to fly, and look great on display. And we're up to eRockets.biz. eRockets.biz, your home for unique model rocket kits. They've been in business since 2009, and eRockets doesn't just carry many of your favorite in-production kits. They also produce their own versions of popular out-of-production models that many of you have come to enjoy over the years. And Noob, you found something.
Oh, yeah. I mean, there's a lot of great stuff on eRockets, specifically Semrock. And the thing I want to talk about right now is called the Semrock Saber, which is a little parasite glider. What is a parasite glider, perhaps you're asking? Well, it's a little glider that attaches to the side of a rocket, and it just goes along for the ride. And at apogee, the glider pops off, and it glides down on its own while the rocket comes down under parachute. There are a number of kits that you can get that have parasite gliders. You might be familiar with some Estes kits like the Javelin launch set or the Shuttle Express. Those have little styrofoam parasite gliders, and they're easy to assemble kits. Well, this one doesn't come with a rocket because you can put it on pretty much any rocket you want to. It's a little balsa wood glider. It's a really cool looking little balsa wood glider, and basically has a hold down tube that you use to attach to the rocket, and all you have to do is tape it to the side of the rocket. So you got a big Bertha and you want to attach a glider to it. Now you've got a Bertha boosted glider. You just tape it to the side of that Bertha, and you fly it that way. You got a Quest Magnum Sport Loader 2-motor cluster egg lofting rocket, and you want to make it even more fun by attaching a glider to it. You can do that. You just tape it to the side of the rocket, and it comes right off.
Nice.
The reason I mention this is that every time I've been at NARCON, Randy Bodway of eRockets has given away nice little giveaways, little goodies. And this year, he was giving away these little Saber kits in the registration bags. And so I've got one. I haven't put it together yet, but it is. I've looked at all the parts. Very nice, lightweight balsa, very thin balsa, and it's a very simple but cool build. It's just going to add a lot of fun to some of my low power launches this summer. Retails for $7.99. It is the Semrock Saber. You can get it at eRockets.biz.
All right, need parts for your own custom builds? No problem. eRockets.biz also supplies the Semrock line of airframes, nose cones, centering rings, motor mounts, and so much more. eRockets has more rocket parts available than anyone else on Earth. Check out eRockets.biz today to learn more. eRockets.biz. If rocketry scares you, buy a train set.
Let's see, $600 for motor casing, $400 for propellant, the airframe. Oh, hi, this is Gheem from The Rocketry Show, and I was just adding up all the costs of one of my projects, and man, can it get steep, especially when you're looking for an onboard telemetry or GPS or tracking devices. I just saw one for $3,000, and I'm not sure about you, but that's a lot of money for me, and I don't even know if it's going to provide video for me. Well, that's where Insane Rockets comes in. Jason Cook has created an app available on Google Play for Android that does all of that and more. It's called the Insane Rockets app, and it provides, get this, real-time telemetry. It records video on most Android phones at 1080p. It records yaw, pitch, roll, heading, 3-axis Gs, gyro, barometer, and velocity using speech in real time. And it will even overlay your flight tracking information directly to Google Earth to help you find your rocket when it comes down. Best part of it, it's free. Go out and get it. Insane Rockets app on Google Play Store for Android.
This episode of The Rocketry Show is also brought to you by the following patrons: Phil Bridges, Piedmont Student Launch Team, Pierre Malou, Toby Vanderbeek, Eric Hundell, Sam Feinberg, Brian Schenkenberger, Carlos McCauley, Chad Zappa, David Simmons, Don Johnson, Timothy Hoagland, John Thompson, and Greg Smearden. Your support is the fuel we need to get to more locations to see what is happening with rocketry events in your part of the world. Thanks for your support, and for those of you interested in becoming a supporter of the program, just visit patreon.com/TheRocketryShow. Welcome back to The Rocketry Show, TheRocketryShow.com, CG, Gheem, and the Rocket Noob. We're talking workshop because we've had a lot of special episodes coming up, and we've got a boatload of them coming up after this, starting up with NARCON 2019 coverage, which is going to take us a few episodes. Also, because we're going to talk about that, we're coming up with ways to cover TARC 2019 as well, and we've got a few other shows we did on the road late last year. Namely the Bama Blastoff. Now, since they've announced Bama Blastoff 2 happening this year, I thought it'd be a good idea to place that stuff we recorded from Bama Blastoff 1 to kind of give you a little bit of an idea what Bama Blastoff is like, so you can get excited about Bama Blastoff 2. So we've got a lot of things where we're not going to be talking much on Shop Talk for a little bit here, because I think pretty much the rest of the season is going to be that stuff. So this is the good time, big moment for us to talk workshop stuff and fun, cool things. And one of those fun, cool things is TARC 2019. And Gheem, you got news.
I do. I had 2 TARC teams this year. I have a rocketry club of about 20 guys at the high school that I work at. And we've been getting built up in a whole bunch of crazy but energetic freshmen coming in and just wanting to change the world. And they worked their butts off. And we went out to a flying field, which is used by the Skybusters in Amherst, Ohio. And Chris Pearson came out. He is an NAR member and was able to spot us. And so we were able to take the field. The farmer was nice enough that we could use the field before Chris showed up for a couple hours. So they honed in on everything. We had our little weights and we had our little scales and we had everything that we needed. And we basically flew the heck out of their rockets, and then it came time to qualify. Now, the interesting thing is it was about 40 degrees outside. And what I've learned in my experience doing this is that if motors get cold, they could lose up to 20% of their actual thrust. Oh. So if they sit out in the cold, they wondered
about that.
Yeah, that's the thing. And that was the thing. It was like, all right, guys, put them underneath your armpits and keep them warm. so we it's basically, I had about 10 guys come out to the field, like there were 5 for each team, roughly. And they were all walking around with like single-use Aerotech motors underneath their armpits. It was pretty funny. However, one team actually got a combined score or an average score of 12. which the scores are calculated as a plus or minus from 2 variables. The first variable is altitude. This year, the altitude was 856 feet. And they were hitting 844, 841, 847. I mean, it's right there in the ballpark. The other factor, which they changed a little this year, was the time for flight. From when the time that the rocket ascends, the section carrying the 3 eggs, so it's about 180 grams worth of eggs, coming down had to be between 43 to 46 seconds in flight time. So that's an interesting kind of a mix. You've got 180 grams plus all the altimeter and the other parts holding it all together. And having it come down in more than, it had to be at least 2 parachutes of the same diameter. So they chose 15-inch parachutes. And as we were tweaking it, they actually realized that their flight times were too high. So everything was working out pretty well as far as their altitude goes. They actually started doing spill holes in the parachutes, like nylon parachutes, like cutting off spill holes in them. And they actually got to the point where they got a combined score of 12, which got them to the finals. So the university school's making its first debut into TARC this year. And I'm going to be taking my team out there to enjoy the show and hopefully move on to the internationals. Love to take them to Paris. Very excited. The guys are just jumping up and down. They did the announcements on Friday of last week, and as the headmaster put it, there was this bevy of activity around Mr. Jim's desk when all the kids were finding out that they actually were going to be going to TARC. Now, I'm going to take the flight team, and I'm also going to take a couple of guys on the other flight team that just missed it. They got a score of 17. So I'll be able to take them, and they'll be able to enjoy watching and cheering on their team to victory.
Very good.
And I am so excited. I never thought, the contest stuff would be anything to get excited about. I wasn't sure because I'm a sport guy. I just like to build and fly. But it is an amazing contest. And just watching how the kids lit up and got excited about rocketry, and they're all working on their level 1s when they're not doing TARC and all this cool stuff. It's pretty exciting. It got them interested in rocketry, and a couple of them are talking about getting into aerospace in the future. So that's cool. I feel really good about that. We'll see what happens. But I think I'm going to cover TARC this year from the perspective of one coach, one team. I think I'll just kind of take the team through the experience, because the last time that we covered it, we talked to a lot of people. And I think for my perspective, it'll be difficult for me to do that because I'm sort of have a vested interest in my guys. And I think what I'll do is I'll hang with them and just kind of cover it as a coach's perspective going through with one team. So we'll see how it happens. I'm still thinking about how I want to do that. But I certainly want to be able to cover that. I thought it would be a nice angle to do it from. I don't know what you guys think about that.
Yeah. It's tricky because you got to focus on, the team. It's going to be difficult to record. I'm actually in a similar situation with NARM. I'm hoping to go to NARM as a participant, and I certainly would like to bring back some recording material, but I want to focus on competing and flying.
Absolutely.
We'll see what I get.
The one advantage with TARC is I'm not allowed in the prep area and I'm not allowed on the flight line. This has to be the team doing it on their own. So I'll be more of a spectator in this. So that gives me the advantage of I'll be able to hang out with my with the other guys on the team, cheering them on while they're in the prep area and getting ready to fly. And we'll see what happens. So at least it'll give me some time that I'll be able to talk to them and kind of get the feel and get it from the team's perspective of how they've never seen a TARC before. It's a big event. It's really exciting. It's lots of energy. Lots of people from all over the country are there. It's a big, big event. And to have all the young rocket geeks together in one spot is pretty cool.
Yeah, definitely.
And I am also hoping that things work out in a way where I can get there as well. And if I can get there, then it'll make it easier between Gheem and I to kind of get some audio from the event there. So just another possibility there.
Just thinking about it. So
exactly.
But very exciting news for me and my team.
For sure.
Yeah, definitely.
And speaking of contest rocketry, I was kind of getting this over on my other machine here so I can read this here. The 2019 NASA student launch competitions wrapped up.
Yes.
And it was pretty competitive. But the way things worked out here, we've got the following awards coming out of that. For Vehicle Design Award, we had the award go to Oregon State University for their vehicle design. Experiment Design Award went to the University of North Carolina, Charlotte. The Safety Award for the 2019 NASA student launch went to University of North Carolina, Charlotte, again. And Project Review Award went to Vanderbilt University. STEM Engagement Award went to both St. Vincent, St. Mary's High School, here local to us here at the Rocketry Show in Akron, Ohio, and Citrus College. And also Social Media Award went to Boy Scout Troop 17 and Auburn University. And Altitude Award, Boy Scout Troop 17 as again, and also North Carolina State University. The Best Looking Rocket, once again, Boy Scout Troop 17. And this time paired up with the University of South Florida. Best Team Spirit Award, Boy Scout Troop 17, as well as Piedmont, Virginia Community College, I believe that is. And Best Rocket Fair Display Award went to Cedar Falls High School and Piedmont, Virginia Community College. And the Judges' Choice Award went to Cedar Falls High School. So certainly a lot of teams that we recognize from previous competitions, whether NASA or TARC, but congratulations to those teams there.
And what's very cool is Northrop Grumman is a sponsor for that. So they really are invested in their own future of their company for aerospace going forward into the future. So there's a lot of good things that happen with that. And to have the high schools being able to compete with the colleges, I think is very cool.
Nice. Yes, indeed. I love all the interest that's going on, and I love the excitement around that. And I looking forward to having this continues because this breathes a lot of new life into our hobby, which is a good thing.
Oh yeah, it's out there. Trust me.
Yes. And on CG's world here, I've already booked my hotel for Night Power. And
nice. Ooh, Grace. I just got an email about that.
Yes.
I did too. I got to see if I can go.
So I've definitely got that all blocked out and everything. So exciting.
Remind us, CG, when is that?
It is, I believe. Let me pull up the calendar and make sure I get the dates all correct here. And it is in it's in May. And let's jump over to May on my calendar. So May 24th, that Memorial Day weekend, 24th, 25th, right. 26th, 27th.
That's the weekend after TARC.
Yes.
Ooh, I may just have to see if I can't pop over there because I do not have a single launch in May. My club doesn't have anything going on, and our sister club up in Maine lost its field recently, so we don't have a launch up there. Yeah, that's a bummer.
Sorry about that.
They're looking for new venues, and we're trying to keep open communication and show gratitude to the owners of the old field, with the hope that we may be able to return at some point. But that means that I've got a launch in a couple of weeks, and then nothing until July. So I got to get some rockets in the air.
Yeah,
you do.
Yes, you do.
Yeah, there's a possibility of maybe going to another state for a couple of joint launches or whatnot. But yeah, so it's April or July. So maybe I'll see if I can't get over to Geneseo in May, and
it's a great field.
And that's what I hear. And I missed a National Sport Launch last year which was held there.
And a great bunch of folks.
Yeah, and I really would like to check it out. Maybe I do have a friend who runs a theater in upstate New York. It's not really near Geneseo, but we may need to go visit him. Maybe I can spin this that way. A trip to upstate New York. that also happens to have rockets.
Upstate,
this is my friend. This is my friend. Chet. He runs the Adirondack Theater Festival in Glens Falls, New York, and they just wrapped up a show called the Jedi Handbook, which they brought back to Bloomington, which is apparently a really great show. And he is the guy I started launching rockets with. So without Chad, I would not be the Rocket Noob. Would not be here talking to you guys. So maybe I can pick him up, and we can go to Geneseo together. And
that'd be cool.
I'm gonna have to try and spin this as a positive experience for the family.
well, this will be cool because the plan that I have for the Geneseo event is the maiden flight of Ares, which is the sister rocket to Nezuru. So
nice, yeah.
You're finally going to fly a rocket, eh?
Actually, the last time I flew a rocket was Geneseo. It was NSL. So so I'll be flying again. I'm getting my mid-power fleet back together again too. So
very cool.
Or making a new fleet.
You remind me of my club president, who's very dedicated to the hobby of rocketry, but never flies anything.
Well, part of it, it's like I find myself in a similar boat that owners of, like, the vendors of rocketry are in. Where they're so into the hobby that they become a vendor and they sell things, and I've become so into the hobby that I do this podcast. So a lot of my time that I would be spending building and flying rockets are spent editing this show.
Yeah. I found that with the blog as well, that if I spent all my time writing the blog and other stuff, I didn't really have time to build rockets. So, it takes up your time. I was actually, it's to the point of surprise that a person who is a vendor can actually get around to it. Is our club vendor, who is all over the country, actually, is Animal Motor Works.
Mm-hmm.
And Gloria, who is in charge of Animal Motor Works with her husband Robert.
Yeah, I love her and her husband. They're so cool. I got to hang out with them.
They are very cool. Yeah, she sold me my level 1 motor, and she made the recommendation. And boy, was it a kicky motor! It did the job. But I saw a picture of her on Facebook with this gigantic rocket, and I was like, oh. She flies too, and of course, I know she would be a rocketeer, but you
don't think about it.
Who knew she would have the time to do that? It was this gigantic AGM pike, like a 5-inch, 6-inch diameter, like 12-foot tall, level 3, and I had no idea that she was a level 3 rocketeer because she was, every time I saw her, she was in the van selling motors. And it's if you're going to dedicate yourself to the hobby in that manner, there's some sacrifices to be made. But thank God there are people who do that.
Yes.
Indeed.
So there you go. Anything else going on in our workshops? I mean, I pretty much covered. One other thing too. That's kind of exciting. I finally got a shoot release. So
what?
and it's going in the tube fin.
Have one?
No, I haven't been.
Did you win it at NARCON?
No, I bought it. I've been wanting to. I've been wanting to get one since we did the episode on the shoot release with John Beans way back when. Yeah. And I
bought 2. I lost one and I bought a second one.
I haven't been flying that much. I mean, the tube fin rocket I've been building, which is a BT-60, I borrowed Gheem's shoot release one time and it was perfect for that.
Yeah.
But it was using those cable cutters, which are kind of a pain in the butt to prep.
Yeah.
Compared to shoot release, yeah.
Yeah. So I've now been getting the workshop together. I'm like getting determined to fly rockets. So I went ahead and got a shoot release for that.
Congratulations. Enjoy.
I was having fun doing ground testing with it this past few days. Yeah. If I wrap it this way, let me set the timer. Oh, yeah, perfect. It releases. Okay. And now if I do it this way.
Keep it up closer to the nose cone.
I saw John's comment on that. So, yeah.
Every time I go to NARCON and John gives away stuff, I'm always hoping I win a backup shoot release. I never do. It's always the guy sitting next to me, which in my case is my club president, who again never flies rockets, and he's got a shoot release.
So you can borrow it.
Yeah.
Oh, actually, you know what? I was actually kind of. I mean, I'd love to have won a backup shoot release, but I would also like to play around with one of those altimeter 3s because I only have the altimeter 2. I didn't have a smartphone when I got my Jolly Logic altimeter. So I was like, well, the 3 is just going to be a waste. So I'll just get the 2. And now I have a decent smartphone. I'm like, oh man, that 3 would be so cool. I would love to just see that graphic.
I want to get one too, just to play with that.
They are cool.
Yeah.
I've got one.
Yeah.
And I use it all the time for and my summer camps and to show the kids like the cool stuff they can do with their smartphone and rockets. They love it.
So there you have. That's what's going on in my world. I think.
I've actually collected a number. I think I know what my next build is going to be. I've every time I see an Estes D region Tomahawk on eBay.
Oh, nice. Yep.
I cannot help but bid on it, and I've won several of these auctions. And I just bought one. I actually know who I bought it from. I bought it from James Duffy because I recognized his username. I actually won 2 auctions the same week of D region. I don't know how many of these I have. I probably have like 5 of them, maybe. Well, they're out of production, and I really like the way they look, but I haven't built one yet. So I think I'm gonna build James Duffy's D region Tomahawk first. It was advertised and sold as an open package, and it was nicely he wrapped it up nicely, so all the parts are there. But since it's an open package, I think that's the one I'll grab that one first. That'll be my next build.
There you go.
But I gotta build one of those because I really like the way those look, and
they fly.
My record is 15 minutes with a bottle of CA building from start to finish, including rail buttons.
They fly best on the composite E motors.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's what I hear.
I did put an F44 in mine. That was great.
Nice. Yeah, anything high, E and higher. I'll put it that way. If the black powder, well, it was the E9 at the time I was flying mine.
Yeah.
And it was, if it's the winds are calm, you can do it on an E9. But when I put the composite motors in there, that was better. That was like, there you go. Yeah. That's what it's built for.
I did like those E9s when they did in Kato, though. I mean, I never had an E9 Kato, and I just did a motor inventory last night, and I got, I think, 15 or 16 of those. So I've got plenty of chances to join the Kato Club, I'm sure. If you guys join the Kato Club, it's a new Facebook group, and boy,
absolutely.
The photographs are spectacular.
Oh, I gotta find that. The Kato Club.
First, when I received an invitation, I thought it was the section from Connecticut, but no, it's
strictly
actually
for Kato.
Yeah, it's for Katos.
I've got a Kato.
It's a fun group. I posted a picture of one of my Estes builds on my Leviathan.
Leviathan, yeah. Oh, I saw that. Yeah.
So there's a picture of me with part of the booster section of Leviathan on fire on the pad. So.
Yeah. I'm glad to be just a lurker at this point.
I'm over here looking.
It's a fun group, though. It looks like it's a lot of fun.
Yeah,
great pictures.
Steve Jurvetson took some remarkable. Some of these photographs on this group are just spectacular, and let's just not let the public see them because
right,
we want them to know that we're a safe hobby. Yeah. And some of these pictures are just like, that's insane. That's an insane Kato.
Well, you can also make the argument that those pictures are a testament to how safe it is because you can have these kind of mishaps occur, and
nobody got hurt,
and all the safety rules. When they're being followed, everyone's like, oh, cool.
Yeah.
So
there you go.
I'm definitely going to look for that now.
There is some discussion about E9s in there. You'll see.
Yeah. Everyone talks about those E9s, and, I don't think they were always a problem. Well, I mean, as we discussed with, Ellis Langford and Bill Stein, it was motors that were made in the winter.
Yes.
That's correct. Yep.
So, but when they worked great and you put them in the right rocket that wasn't too heavy, they just would go and go and go.
They're great. They're lovely. They're great long burns.
I really liked them. I mean, they were probably, when I was just doing black powder motors, I think that was my favorite motor. And I only flew a few of them. But every time I flew it, it just would go and go and go. I just loved it.
I do have one of those long burn G8s sitting in my box right now. And Well, see, here's the thing. I posted on the book, on the Facebook Rocketry Show discussion page. I got this, and I got the Vortico, and I'm going to give it a shot. Well, the company that creates the Vortico told me that's not a good idea because it's probably going to be underpowered for that. So I didn't launch it. So
yeah,
cooler heads prevailed. So I got to build something that'll take it. I think I'm just going to put a tube and some fins together and just build for the G8 that I'm going to lose.
Yeah. I mean, I do have a rocket that I really like, but and it's a scratch built. It's from the Mike Westerfield book, Make Rockets, and it was built to have a camera payload on top, and I really like it. But I used a BT-50, a standard thin-walled BT-50, and I've looked at it recently, and the motor tube is starting to disintegrate inside the rocket. So
right.
Maybe time to put fly a few E9s on it and just see what happens.
Sure.
Just send it off to its Viking death with a couple of E9s. Yeah. So, yeah. Well.
Okay. Well, let us know how that goes.
Yeah, I will.
All right. I think we've just wrapped up another episode of The Rocketry Show. A lively workshop discussion episode. I had a lot of fun with this one. So hopefully you did as well. And like I said, the next episodes will be the NARCON 2019 coverage. And so you'll be a little bit before you hear us talking freely. You will hear us, but we'll be on a mission. A few missions. And I've got the group here on my computer now, the Cato Club, with a wonderful profile shot. That's epic. That's an epic one. Anyway, on that note,
keep your eyes in the skies.
All right, we'll see you next time, gang. This has been The Rocketry Show at TheRocketryShow.com.
Introducing Mach 1 Rocketry, the creators of a new line of fiberglass kits with amazing designs and solid construction that'll last a lifetime. Mach 1 Rocketry, the fiberglass specialists. We don't make anything else. Now you can fly low power with less worries about crashes and wet weather. Check out our BT-sized kits with filament-wound airframes and 1/16-inch G10 fins and G10 centering rings. These rockets are tough enough to take the punishment of many flights. And when you're ready to step up to high-power rockets, Mach 1 Rocketry has a complete line of exciting new fiberglass kits. Check out old favorites and great new designs as well, like the Black Hole, an instant classic, easy to build, tough, and inexpensive. The Triple Crown of Rockets from Mach 1 Rocketry, the only manufacturer of fiberglass BT-sized rockets in the world. Visit us online at Mach1Rocketry.com. That's Mach, the number 1, Rocketry.com. Kits by flyers, for flyers. Step up today.
This episode of The Rocketry Show is also brought to you by the following patrons: Hughes LaRouge, Jack Pohlman, Joe Sempitro, Rob Hoagie, Ryan Smith, Christopher Shremko, Digit, John Bryan, JohnRockets.com LLC, Carl Hunting, and Steve Sainer. While The Rocketry Show is supported by commercial sponsors, they do not cover all of the costs of doing the show. This is why we appreciate the support of patrons like you. Thank you. To find out more, just go to patreon.com/The Rocketry Show. Next time on The Rocketry Show.
Good morning. This is Gheem from The Rocketry Show. We are just waiting right now for the launch of the SpaceX Falcon 9 with the first demo test of the crewed module. It appears to be going up majestically, one might say. There's the sound. There it comes. Here comes the sound.
It's the NARCON 2019 extravaganza, and that's on the next episode of TheRocketryShow.com.